This video is about eco-sensitive zone, its definition, permitted, prohibited and regulatory activities, and about the determination of extent of boundary of eco-sensitive zone. In the schedule of EIA notification 2006, it is found that in some activities or project under condition column, general conditions shall apply is written as you see in case of mining of minerals. And this general condition shall apply is found in river valley projects also, and you can find it at thermal power plants and all other several other activities. You can see here the general conditions shall apply is written, and in some projects or activities you will find the general condition as well as specific condition shall apply is written. So what is general condition? I have made a video on this earlier, so you can see that a project of category B will be treated as category A if it is located in part or in full within 5 kilometers from the boundary of protected areas notified under the Wildlife Protection Act 1917 to critically polluted areas as identified by the CPCB from time to time, eco-sensitive areas as notified under Environment Protection Act 1986, interstate boundaries or international boundaries. But in case of river valley projects, thermal power plants, industrial estates, parks, complex areas, export processing zones, special economic zones, biotech parks, leather complex, and common hazardous waste treatment, storage, and disposal facilities, the appraisal shall be made at central level even if it is located within 10 kilometer. So the 5 kilometer becomes 10 kilometer if these projects are there within the boundary of within, if it is part of fully within the boundary of eco-sensitive zone. Further, you can see in Form 1 or Form 1M, where there is a section of environmental sensitivity where we have to identify and map of the sensitivity receptors, that is the receptors likely to be exposed to the emissions generated from the project related activities and their relative locations with reference to the project locations. So for example, area protected under international convention or national or local legislation, then you have to identify the name and the aerial distance here, and the area which are important or sensitive for ecological reasons, wetlands, water courses, so state and national boundaries, densely populated or built up areas, areas of sensitive man-made land uses for hospitals, schools, places of worship, so that we have to give name and the distance from the ideal distance from the project boundary. So this is a site of Envis. You can go this site and you can visit these sites for these protected areas of India. So protected areas are those in which human occupation or at least the exploitation of resources is limited. There are several kinds of protected areas which vary by level of protection depending on the enabling laws of each country or the regulation of each international organizations involved. So national park, wildlife sanctuary, conservation reserves, community reserves, marine protected areas, all are under protected areas. So in India, you can see that there are 106 national parks, Wildlife sanctuary is 573, community reserves 220, and community conservation reserve is 123. So total PA, the protected areas, is 1022, excluding the marine protected areas. So if we know, if we're going to know the total marine protected areas, so just hit here. So you can hit here, and there is a left hand side, there is under protected areas also there, all 5 sections. So I hit marine protected areas, and here find that in peninsular India there is 25 notification, that is 25 areas, protected areas. In islands of India there are 100 protected areas, and in Lakshadweep there are 4. So altogether there is 129 marine protected areas in India. So counting all, the total protected areas is 1151. So you can explore the site of your interest, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, from this uh, left side window, and you can do it from the main pages also. If we hit the protected areas of India, then the main pages open, will open, and you can hit here, and from here also you get data of your choice of uh, protected areas, wildlife sanctuaries, national park, etc. So what are the eco-sensitive zone? Eco-sensitive zones are also known as ecological fragile areas, and the zones are areas around protected areas and other such areas with identified environmental resources having incomparable values which require special attention for their conservation because of its landscapes, wildlife, biodiversity, historical and natural value. So in other words, it is a type of a designation of an area which is rich in environmental resources and needs special attention. And eco-sensitive zones are area notified by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. The purpose of declaring eco-sensitive zone is to create some kind of shock absorber to the protected areas by regulating and managing the activities around such areas. The basic aim is to regulate certain activities around national parks and wildlife sanctuaries to minimize the negative impact of such activities on the fragile ecosystem encompassing the protected area. As per the National Board of Wildlife, the delineation of eco-sensitive zones have to be site-specific, and activities should be regulative in nature, not prohibitive unless required. So this is the final, actually the final verdict, that the eco-sensitive zone have to be site specific and activity should be regulative in nature, not prohibiting. The activities is permitted, that ongoing agricultural and horticultural practices, rainwater harvesting, organic farming, use of renewable energy sources, and adoption of green technologies. And prohibited activities is commercial mining, sawmills, industries causing air, water, soil noise, pollution, etc. And regulated activities is felling of tree, the establishment of hotel resorts, etc. So this is a sample of gazette notification of eco-sensitive zone. This is Balukhada Konark Wildlife Sanctuary. So there is a two annexure attached with this notification. One is a map of this sanctuary, wildlife sanctuary, with geographical coordinates and the name of villages of this, with coordinates of these 30 villages. So this is a map, and this is the coordinates of this wildlife sanctuary, and that's the coordinate of eco-sensitive zone and the 30 villages there. This notification is available in this website. And how will you determine the extent of ecological sensitive zone? Actually, the concept of eco-sensitive zone was conceived during the 21st meeting of Indian National Board for Wildlife held on January 2002, when Wildlife Conservation Strategy 2002 was adopted. And in point number 9 envisages that lands falling within 10 kilometers. So here you know that 10 kilometers of the boundary of national parks and sanctuary should be notified as eco-fragile zones under appropriate section of EP Act and appropriate rules of uh, Environment Protection Rules 2000, 1986. Now, this concept of 10 kilometer, and accordingly, based on this proposal, the Additional Director General of Forest had requested the Chief Wildlife Warden of all states and UTs for listing out such areas within 10 kilometers of boundary of national parks and sanctuaries and furnish detailed proposal for their notification as eco-sensitive areas under the EP Act 1986. But in response, some of the state governments had raised concern over applicability of 10-kilometer range from the protected area boundary and informed that most of the human habitation and other areas, including important cities in these states, would come under the purview of eco-sensitive zone and will adversely affect the development. Considering the constraints communicated by the state, the proposal was re-examined by the National Board of Wildlife in its second meeting held on March 2005, and it was decided that the delineation of eco-sensitive zones would be site-specific and related to regulation rather than prohibition of specific activities. So if you see this delineation of extents of ecosystem zone in the light of Honorable Supreme Court order, then we first discussed about the public litigation filed by Goa Foundation by writ petition number 460/2004 before the Honorable Supreme Court regarding the issue of declaration of eco-sensitive zone. And Supreme Court has contemplated the issue of direction for maintaining a 10-kilometer wide safety zone in respect of sanctuary and national parks, as there was a lack of response from the states and UTs in relation to the queries of various aspects in respect of wildlife conservation. But in another writ petition, civil, there was an order on 3rd June 2022, and Supreme Court directed that every protected forest or national park or wildlife sanctuary across the country should have a mandatory ecosystem zone of minimum 1 kilometer starting from their demarcated area. So in this order, it is categorically mentioned that we have to maintain a 1 kilometer, minimum 1 kilometer distance area from the demarcated boundary of national park or wildlife sanctuary or other protected areas as eco-sensitive zone. But in April 2023, Supreme Court modified its June order that ruled that each national park or wildlife sanctuary must have a which is in 2022, which is ruled that each national park or sanctuary must have an eco-sensitive zone of minimum 1 kilometer measured from the demarcated boundary of protected forest, while also lifting a complete ban of development of construction activities within the ecosystem zones, as uniform eco-sensitive zones was not workable, and prohibiting all development activities within such zones is impossible to be implemented, and eco-sensitive zones cannot be uniform and will be protected area specific. So in the final order, which is available with us in hand in April 2023, where is categorically specifically written that there is no rule of kilometer which have to be maintained from the boundary of protected areas for delineation of eco-sensitive zone. Each category is specifically said that you have to taken as area specific, and uniform eco-sensitive zone was not workable, and within the ecosystem zone that all development activities will prohibited. This is not workable. So this I have to take some site specific measurements for delineation and prohibiting the activities. So this is a site of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. I just found it in under the regulation, rules and regulation. There is some ESZ notification, eco-sensitive zone. You can visit this site, and here you will find that November 2023, yes, 28 November 2022 is the last notification. Maybe under draft stage is there. So you can visit this site to know the present ecosystem zones or ecosystem zones, sorry, eco-sensitive zones or eco-sensitive area in India. So there is an environmental protection under the rules and regulation heading, and here is also powered confirmed by the environmental access of certain ecosystem sensitive zones. So you will visit this site to know the current scenario of eco-sensitive zone. I just find this. I do not find any other sites, government sites, where the list of eco-sensitive zones are there. Finally, this is an important notification regarding clarification on requirement of various environmental and forest clearance for project or activities in eco-sensitive zones and other such areas outside the protected area. So if the project or activities in notified eco-sensitive zones around PA, that is prohibited protected area, or in notified ESA, eco-sensitive area, or the project or activity outside the PS, wherein eco-sensitive zone is not notified or in draft stage, and project or activities under PA in areas which is a part of Tiger Reserve or linkage one PA or Tiger Reserve to another PA or Tiger Reserve. So for EC or for forest clearance, if the project is located is this and that, then you have to do accordingly as per this notification. So for further information, you can go through these references. Thank you for watching this video.